The dog. We're not ready to meet her. She knows my birthday. She knows I forgot something. She's got a birthday tomorrow.
It is lovely to be back here again. You know, you were the first. This is the first place I ever played when I began doing Irish songs again for retirement communities. So I love coming back here, and I see so many faces that I recognise from my previous visits, and I'm delighted to be back. And I'm delighted to have you back. Thank you. I'll do a few songs just to wind up the voice and get the fingers warmed up. And we'll get going in earnest. It's a Van Morrison song. Van's Irish. Sometimes they take pop songs and they make them religious. But this is actually a religious song that Van Morrison wrote. And turned it into a pop song, which is the other way around. Have I told you lately that I love you? Have I told you there ain't nobody else above you? You fill my heart with gladness. You take away all the sadness. You ease my trouble. It's what you do. For the morning sun, greets the day with hope and comfort too. You fill my life with laughter. Somehow you make it better. You ease my trouble. It's what you do. And there's a love that's divine, and it's yours and mine like the sunlight. And at the end of the day, we should give thanks and pray to the one, who said to me, have I told you lately that I love you? Have I told you there ain't nobody else above you? Fill my life with gladness. You take away all my sadness. You ease my trouble. It's what you do. Fill my life with gladness. You take away all the sadness. You ease my trouble. It's what you do. God made 12-string guitars so we could get closer to heaven, but the devil made the strings because they dig into your fingers like barbed wire. The pleasure of playing 12 strings, right? In a second I'll do that. I think I need the fingers of a real cowboy to be able to play a 12-string all night. True, you ride the finest horse I've ever seen. Stand at 16, 1 or 2, with eyes wild and green. And you ride that horse so well, hands light to the touch. I could never go with you no matter how I wanted to. So ride on, see you. I could never go with you no matter how I wanted to. So ride on, see you. never go with you no matter how I wanted to. When you ride into the night without a trace behind, run your claw along my guts one last time. I turn to face the empty space where you used to lie. I look for the spark that lights in the night through the teardrop in my eye. So ride on, see you. I could never go with you no matter how I wanted to. So ride on, see you. I could never go with you no matter how I wanted to. So ride on, ride on. Thank you. Okay. We're warmed up now, I think. We're as warmed up as we're getting, being 70 degrees outside. So, thank you very much for your welcome. Garmila Mahaguv Galera Kharde, thank you so much for your kind welcome to me. Fáiltear Arasharish, Gar Heritage on Trononisha, you're very welcome this afternoon to my Irish session here in Heritage. Simon de Pereira Sanamdam, Alakom and my name is Simon Power from Wexford in Ireland. Kill Tor, Shanachie, I sing songs, tell stories. And there's a great Irish expression, "Kite kill of his crack," and it means a great evening together with your friends, singing, telling stories, and what we call crack, having a crack. Which is what I hope to do this afternoon. So we'll move right along with one of those Irish songs that falls into the genre of being away and wishing I was back home in Ireland. It's that great Irish joke about the Irish boomerang. It's a stick, and when you throw it, it sits on the floor singing about wanting to go home. Which is good. Anyway, so this comes under the heading of I wish I was home. A couple of these. It was folk who shared this room, and we worked hard for the crack. Sleeping late on Sunday, so we never get to Mass. And it's a long, long way from Clare to here. And it's a long, long way from Clare to here. And it's a long, long way. It gets further day by day. It's a long, long way from Clare to here. When Friday night comes around, oh, he's only into fighting. You know me, Ma would like a letter home, but I'm too tired for writing, and it's a long, long way from Clare to here. And it's a long, long way from Clare to here. And it's a long, long way. It's further day by day. And it's a long, long way from Clare to here. And it almost breaks my heart when I think of Josephine. You know I told her I'd be coming home with pockets full of green, and it's a long, long way from Clare to here. And it's a long, long way from Clare to here. And it's a long, long way. It gets further day by day. And it's a long, long way from Clare to here. Sometimes I hear a fiddle play, or maybe it's an ocean, and And I dream I see white horses dance on that other ocean. And it's a long, long way from Clare to here. And it's a long, long way from Clare to here. And it's a long, long way. It gets further day by day. And it's a long, long way from Clare to here. And it's a long, long way. It gets further day by day. And it's a long, long way from Clare to here. 1803 as we sailed out to sea, out from the Suez Island of day. For Australia bound, if we didn't all drown, and our masts and our feathers we claimed. Across the iron chains we sang for always, our good wives we left in sorrow. As the mainsails unfurled, our curses we hurled on the ocean floods of tomorrow. I was back home in Maine. No, I wish I was back home in Maine. No, I wish I was back home in Maine. I cursed them to hell as our boat swelled. The ship danced like a moth in the flames. White horses rode by as the devil passed by, taking souls to the hyenas right to left. Great weeks out to sea, we went out for free. Our comrades we buried each morning. In our own slime, we were lost in time, our endless nights without dawn. No, I wish I was home in Maine. No, I wish I was home in Maine. No, I wish I was back home in Maine. Now Van Diemen's Land, it's a hell of a ride, where the roads is like a slave. Where the climate is raw, and the gun makes it noise. Now the wind will rain, hear the rain. 20 years not gone by, now again we live on the comrades go sad behind me. And a rebel I came and I'll die just the same. On the cold winter night you will find me. Oh, I wish I was back home in Maine. Oh, I wish I was back home in Maine. Oh, I wish I was back home in Maine. Thank you. Great songs, if a little sad, which reminds me of that. Jeez, it's hot by the way. Reminds me of the quote from G.K. Chesterton, the famous English poet, who said, "The great Gaels of Ireland are men that God made mad, for all their wars are merry, and all their songs are sad." He wasn't the only one that had something to say about the Irish. Sigmund Freud, the Irish, the only nation on earth for whom psychoanalysis is of no use whatsoever. I don't know what we did to Sigmund, but obviously we upset him somehow. Alright. First of the poetry bits this evening from a man called John Locke. And it's called The Exile's Return. And it's about an Irishman going back to Ireland and seeing it for the first time after 30 years away. And I find it very poignant because there's an expression. We call it emigration and stuff. We never called it emigration. We called it taking the boat. And I took the boat as well. My father took my boat. My grandfather took the boat. Now they take the plane. But then we took the boat. Anyway, so there's this man coming back from New York on a boat. And he's standing at the prow. And he's looking across the west of Ireland. And the dawn breaks and he can see Connemara and the hills, the 12 Bends. And in front of him there's Galway Bay opening before him. And inside in Galway Bay, the two islands, Arran Moor and Arran Beag, crisscrossed with these waist-high stone walls, which give it a beautiful patchwork quilt look. And when the sun shines, which I have to be honest, isn't very often, it's very, very beautiful. So a little bit of the poem called John Locke and Exile's Return, and then the song Galway Bay. Dawn over the hills of Ireland, God's angels lifting the night's black veil from the fair sweet face of my sireland. Oh, Ireland, isn't it grand to look, like a bride in her rich adorning? With every pent-up bit of my heart, I bid you top of the night. If you ever go across the sea to Ireland, then maybe at the dawning of your day, you will sit and watch the moon rise over Clare, and watch the sun go down on Galway Bay, just to hear again the ripples of the trout stream, and the women in the meadow making hay, just to sit beside the turf fire in the cabin and watch the barefoot gossoons at their play. A gossoon is a young Irish lad, usually up to no good. Oh, the breeze is blowing o'er the sea from Ireland, are perfumed by the heather as they blow, and the women in the uplands digging potatoes speak the language that the strangers do not know. If there's going to be a life hereafter, and somehow I think there's going to be, I will ask my God to let me make my heaven in that dear land across the Irish Sea. If you ever go across the sea to Ireland, then maybe at the dawning of your day, you will sit and watch the moon rise over Clare, and watch the sun go down on Galway Bay. Thank you. Jeez, God bless you. Thank you. Right. This is a beautiful song. And I was looking it up the other day because I thought it was 17th century or 1700s. And the words are 1700s. But the air is medieval, which is just really cool. So I'm going to sing a song that was sung in Ireland 1,000 years ago. How good is that? Oh, and by the way, if you want a song to last 1,000 years, make it as good as this one. My young love said to me, my mother won't mind, nor my father won't slight you, your lack of kind. And she stepped away from me, and this she did say, it will not be long, love, till our wedding day. She stepped away from me, she moved through the fair, and fondly I watched her move here and move there. Then she made her way homeward, with one star awake, as the swan in the evening flew over the lake. People were saying, no two were over, for one has a sorrow that ne'er was sent. Then she smiled as she passed with her goods and her gear. That was the last that so almighty. I dreamt it last night, my young love came. So softly she came that her feet made no din. Then she laid her hand on me, and this she did say, it will not be long, love, till our wedding day. Young love came to me, my mother was mine, nor my father once like you, your lack of kind. And she stepped away from me, and then she did say, it will not be long, love, till our wedding day. It will not be long, love, till our wedding day. It will not be long, love, till our wedding day. It will not be long, love, till our wedding day. Something that was on the minds very prevalently of most Irish men. Right. Bit of W.B. Yeats, because he's brilliant. And we'll do a couple of bits from W.B. Yeats. But this particular bit was about the 1916 uprising in Dublin. Not only was Yeats alive at the time, but Yeats was alive and writing prominently at the time. And after the uprising, and several thousand brave Irishmen took over a number of buildings in Dublin, Padraig Pearse walked out of the General Post Office, stood on O'Connell Street, and declared Ireland a free republic, cherishing the rights and privileges of all of its children equally. Of course, it didn't end well. The British sent gunships up the River Liffey and blew the crap out of it. But Yeats realised something had changed, that things would never be the same again. And he wrote this poem called A Terrible Beauty. So I'll recite a couple of verses of that, and then I'll sing a song called The Foggy Dew, which is about those men and that uprising. And then at the end, to try and sandwich the whole thing, I'll sing a little bit of the song that they were chanting as they marched in, their marching song. It's in Irish, it's called O Roche de Vahawalia, all boys, so you're welcome. So we'll try and do all those three together in honor of the 1916 uprising. And was it needless death after all, for England may keep faith, after all is said and done? I know their dreams, enough to know they dreamed and are dead. And what if excess of love bewildered them till they died? I write it out in verse. MacDonagh and McBride and Connolly and Pearse, now when whatever green is worn, things are changed. Changed utterly. A terrible beauty is born. 'Twas down by the glen, one Easter morn, 'twas City Pharaoh died. The armoured lines of marching men, the squadrons passed me by. No pipe did hum, nor battle drum did sound its dread tattoo. But the angel's spell o'er the Liffey swell rang out in the foggy dew. Right proudly high o'er Dublin town we hung the flag of war, for 'twas better to die 'neath an Irish sky than Sule or Sunel Bar. And from the plains of royal Meath proud men came hurrying through, while Britannia's Huns with their long-range guns sailed in the foggy dew. But the bravest fell, the requiem bell, it rang so morn and clear, for those who died in that Easter time, the springing of the year. And the world did gaze with deep amaze to those fearless men but few, who bore the fights and freedom's light, shining in the foggy dew. Back through the glen I'll go again, with my heart with grief was sore. For I parted then with valiant men, whose like I'll see no more. And to and fro in dreams I go, I'll kneel and pray for you. And your shades will keep where Fenians